Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast but too afraid that it may cost you too much money? Well, guess what? There's an easy way to do that with the Anchor app. The best thing about it, it is $0 and free cents. It is completely free. The best thing about Anchor is that there is a creation tool that allows you to edit from either your computer or from your phone. Anchor also will distribute all of your podcasts through Spotify, Apple Music, and all other streaming services, so you won't have to worry about a thing. You can also make money from doing your podcast, doing sponsorships like this with no minimum listenership. And the best part about your podcast is that everything is going to be at one place. Using Anchor for me has been a wonderful experience. It's so easy to do, and you can do it all from your phone, or if you want to do it on the computer, you can do that as well. All you have to do is go to the website, anchor.fm, or you can download the free Anchor app. All you got to do is type in Anchor on iOS or Google Store, and you can start recording your podcast today.
Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got the real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam. Here's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam. Alright.
Everybody get up. It's time to slam now. We got a real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam. Go Sox. I don't know why I started the podcast that way, but welcome back to the Chandler Burton podcast. I am your host, Chandler Burton, and obviously I am very excited about today's topic, which is going to be Space Jam, a new legacy. I am unfortunately really excited for this movie. I'm not going to fully talk about the first Space Jam film. I am going to mention part of it throughout the podcast, but I really want to focus on the new one and why I think it is going to be a decent film. Now, I know a lot of people, when this movie was pitched a long time ago, this movie, I remember looking stuff up for it in like 2014, that it was rumored, was Michael Jordan coming back, was Kobe Bryant going to do it, and then I heard rumors about LeBron James, which of course we know is now confirmed to be LeBron James in the film. It was a very interesting concept because I never thought Space Jam get another movie, and this is not a sequel to Space Jam. This is a brand new film. Like you can watch this one cold without watching the first one. That's why I think the way they call it a new legacy, because it's going to be for a new generation of fans and of kids who go and see the film. And so the title of this podcast is going to be 5 reasons why I think Space Jam: A New Legacy will work. I know there's a lot of people that I've posted on my social media saying that they are not excited for this movie. They don't want to see it, mainly for 2 reasons. The big reason is, number one, they're not a fan of LeBron James. And the second reason is that a lot of people think that the Looney Tunes are kind of outcast now. Like, you kind of see it with Disney, right? You kind of see it how Mickey Mouse, he's not really in a lot of stuff anymore. A lot of people just kind of associate him with like being the mascot of Disney Corporation, which, you know, that makes sense. You'll see Mickey Mouse on like the Marvel stuff or Star Wars or ESPN or anything that Disney owns. You just see like a mouse sitting behind a desk just counting all that money. I know obviously it's not real, but I think that's how a lot of people see Mickey Mouse, is he's kind of just like the icon for it. He's not really in a lot of movies anymore. He may be like in a cameo or something, but he hasn't had his own movie in years. I think most people just see him as like the icon of Disney. And I think a lot of people kind of see that with the Looney Tunes. Like, it's funny, Looney Tunes, like Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mouse, and SpongeBob are like 3 of the most iconic cartoon characters of all time. Like, they're like the top 3. And I think a lot of people see the Looney Tunes as kind of the icon for Warner Brothers, kind of how Mickey Mouse is for Disney. They kind of see Bugs Bunny as like this multimedia empire where, like, okay, like we know who he is, but we don't need to see him in anything else. And I think a lot of people thought that. They're like, well, is this going to work? Because, I mean, the last movie that Looney Tunes that they did was Looney Tunes Back in Action. And I'm kind of a sucker for that movie. It's not great by any means. If you watch it, you probably go like, why would you be watching this? But honestly, it's got some charm to it. I like the Looney Tunes, so I was kind of, I kind of enjoyed it for what it was. And going back to Space Jam, the original Space Jam, I remember seeing it when I was like 3 when the movie came out, and I don't obviously remember much of it. My mom took me to see it in the theaters, from what she told me. And my mom told me I really liked the cartoon aspect of it, but I didn't really care for anything else. And watching it as an adult, Space Jam is not that good of a film, and I mean that in the kindest of hearts. It's okay. It's not like horrible, but it's definitely not as good as people think. And that movie is the definition for me. Like, it's in the 90s. I was born in the 90s, and it should be definitely the definition of like a nostalgia trip. And it definitely has its moments. But for me, the movie is it's so weird. It's like half Looney Tunes and half Michael Jordan, like, documentary of like his life. And it just doesn't fit together well for a film. And I'm not, again, it sounds like I want this movie to be like an Oscar-winning film, but I don't. It's just, for its time, I'm sure it was great. But looking at it now, you're kind of like, this movie really isn't that good. It has moments in it that are hilarious. It's actually unintentionally hilarious at parts. Like, the Looney Tunes are funny, but Michael Jordan, we'll talk about this in a bit. Michael Jordan is, like, he should win an award for Best Comedic Actor in this movie, because his performance in this movie is so bad that it just makes you laugh. It is honestly just hilarious. And so I kind of wanted to just touch on that here. Like, I do like Space Jam. I like parts of Space Jam. But I really think this Space Jam: A New Legacy could be the better film. I mean, from the trailer alone, it looks like it's more cohesive. It looks like there's some stakes involved with the basketball game. And I really think this may be a better film than the original. I really do. And I'm going to go through my list here of 5 reasons why I think the film Space Jam: A New Legacy will be better than the original. So the first thing, and I just mentioned a little bit here, is LeBron James can actually act. What I'm going to do for you here is I'm going to play 2 audio clips from Space Jam, and I'm going to play, which of course has Michael Jordan, and then I'm going to play another audio clip from a 2015 comedy called Trainwreck. Now, LeBron James is not the star in Trainwreck, but he does have a small part in it, and I want you just to hear the difference in their voices when they're performing. So I'm going to play those, and we'll be right back.
Oh, look out for that first step, Doc. It's a real Lulu.
Bugs Bunny?
You were expecting maybe the Easter Bunny?
You're a cartoon, you're not real.
Not real, eh? If I weren't real, could I do this?
My boy got a girlfriend. Like, man, it's been forever.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been like 6 years since Sheila, and
Yep.
that only lasted like 5 weeks.
Yep. There was Debbie.
Debbie didn't even tell you where she lived.
Yeah, she thought I was a psycho. She kept calling me Dexter.
What I'm saying is you got to go for it. Listen, Aaron, you need to focus if you want to take it to the next level.
Right.
You have to. Like, you got to give it everything you want if you want this one, man. It's like when I lost the championship in 2011, I worked on my game twice as hard, worked on my post-up game, and we wound up winning the championship twice.
Yeah. I don't feel like that applies to me, but I appreciate the thought.
Aaron, you got to take a risk.
All right, now that you had a chance to listen to both of those audio clips, I'm going to pull a Dora the Explorer on you here. You ready? Which of the following 2 is a better actor just from hearing their voice? That's right, Diego. It's LeBron James. Joking aside, LeBron James is the better actor. Now, he's not great. He's not like a top actor that I want to see in every single film. But what LeBron James has, he has charisma. He's not really a born actor, but he's a very good performer, and that shows on the court. He's a great player. I know a lot of people have had some controversy about him. I mean, all that aside, separating the art from the artist, I guess you could say, I do think LeBron James is a very, very good player. He's great at what he does. I mean, people they could try to justify it any way they want, some of the stuff that he's done, or things that he's said, or whatever. He's great at what he does. I mean, he is a really, really good player. And what was funny, a lot of people were like, when he signed over to the Lakers, he's like, he's not signing over to the Lakers. He's signing over to Hollywood. And I'm just like, okay. But then it kind of shows, like in Trainwreck, again, that movie is actually pretty funny. I watched it a couple of months ago, and I really actually enjoyed the film. I'm not a big Amy Schumer fan, but I knew a lot of other people were in it that I enjoyed. And LeBron James actually surprised me. That clip that I played you was like one of the first scenes that you see him in, and he's actually really good throughout the film. He's funny, he's charismatic, and I think what Space Jam: A New Legacy needs, it needs a charismatic lead. Michael Jordan, he is without question one of the best basketball player of all time. Back in 1996, man, he was hot. Bugs Bunny was hot off the plate, man, and they just combined those two together to create Space Jam. Michael Jordan, there's a scene in Space Jam, actually, if you watch it. It's the scene where it's after they go get the shoes, like Bugs Bunny and Daffy go to the real world, get Michael Jordan's basketball stuff, and then they come back and he is going to play some basketball. And the song, the Fly Like an Eagle, that song plays. I love that song. It's actually a cover that Seal did. I had no idea, but I like that version. But then you watch him play basketball, and you could see in his face that he loves what he does. Like, that was some real acting. I was like, whoa, he's looking good in shooting this basketball. And then immediately he opens his mouth, and you're like, oh, it's really bad. Now, again, he probably didn't really care. He kind of just was like, all right, I'll do it. It'll be fine. And again, I obviously was only 3 when that movie came out. I obviously was not on the set, so I don't know how it all went down. Michael Jordan seemed like a really good guy, and it just seemed like he did it just for the money. And sometimes you're like, okay, it's a paycheck. And it's funny, too, this is the highest grossing sports movie of all time. We got some banger sports movies out there. You got movies like The Way Back, Remember the Titans, Gridiron Gang. You got some great sports movies out there. But this little 1996 basketball movie, who only has like a 30-minute segment of the basketball game in it, has made more money through merchandise and obviously ticket sales when it came out than any other sports movie. Just keep that in mind, that this movie is the #1 sports movie in the world. You can seriously type that on Google and it will say Space Jam. It is absolutely insane how this is the most popular sports movie, or the highest grossing sports movie of all time. And I'm sure this movie will do the same thing. I'm sure it will make a ton of money. So that's kind of my first reason. My first reason is that LeBron James is a decent actor. He's charismatic, and I think that's going to work well with the Looney Tunes. I think that'll be a very a good balance for the adults and for the kids alike. The second reason I think this film's actually going to be good is that the plot actually seems pretty engaging. Now, in the first movie, the roles kind of reverse. I'll kind of explain what I mean here. In the first movie, the Looney Tunes are held captive by Swackhammer, saying, like, you have to come work in my amusement park because it's failing, and we want you guys to be funny all the time. And so the Looney Tunes challenge these little monsters to a game of basketball because they're really short. I always wondered why they challenge them to basketball. Then I realized, okay, they're really short, and they would obviously win. Then obviously they become the Monstars, and they take all the NBA's power. It's a really weird film. Really, really strange. And so that was kind of the premise. The Looney Tunes needed Michael Jordan to like make sure they don't go to this comedy prison per se. In this movie, it's kind of flipped around. It seems like what happens is LeBron, from the trailer, of course, LeBron James, his son gets sucked into the Serververse, which is, of course, the Warner Brother properties. And Don Cheadle's the man. Don Cheadle's awesome. It's cool that he's kind of the villain in this movie. Not really the villain, but he's kind of like the antagonist, I guess you could say. He takes his son, and he's like, the only way you're going to get him back is if we play a little basketball. I hope they explain why basketball. I don't just, obviously we know what Space Jam is and what's going to happen. But I hope they explain, like, why why basketball? Why not like rock, paper, scissors or football or baseball or something like that? So I hope they kind of explain that. If not, I mean, again, it's not a huge deal. I think, it's just meant to be fun. But it seems like in this movie, LeBron James is trying to recruit the Looney Tunes for help with them. And you'll see in the trailer as well that they're wearing the original Toon Squad jersey from the first movie. So maybe the Looney Tunes have experience playing basketball. I don't know how much is going to tie into the first one. But I think the plot actually seems really cool. You in the trailer, you see him go through all these different worlds. Like you see Game of Thrones, you see Wizard of Oz, Batman and Superman, the Flintstones, where Wonder Woman's land. I forgot the name of it offhand, but there's like a ton of places in the film, and I think that's just a really cool idea. A lot of people have been comparing it to Ready Player One, and I could definitely see that. But I think it's really cool that they're using all these properties to create this film. I think that's a really cool thing, which actually ties into my next topic of why I think this movie will work and will be fun, is that literally everybody is here. That's actually from Super Smash Brothers, where they're like, every character in the game is here, and I just thought that was kind of a cool thing. Literally every Warner Brothers property, I think, is in this film. The majority of them. It's crazy. I've watched trailer breakdowns of the trailer. It was on like a 3-minute trailer. And you can see how there's so many characters in these movies. You're like, wow, they're really putting a lot of work with this here. And the animation looks pretty good. Like you saw the Flintstones, King Kong's in it, Scooby-Doo's in it. It's like, man, if they want to make an animated Flintstones movie, I mean, the animation's already there, so they may be able to do something like that. Then you see also in the background, if you look carefully, there's like people from The Matrix, Pennywise is in there, Jack Nicholson's Joker, The Mask is in there. Like, there's so many characters that if you just pause the trailer, you're probably going to see somebody, and I think that's really, really cool. I think that's an amazing thing. So you look at it, you're just like, wow, this looks like it's really more fun and engaging. And if you watch the first Space Jam, it's not really that engaging. The only thing good about the movie, honestly, is the Looney Tunes. Again, I think Daffy Duck is one of my favorite cartoon characters of all time. And so for me, I just genuinely think he's very, very funny. If you showed a kid this movie, they'd probably be somewhat entertained like the first movie, but they probably would lose interest in it. I think with this one, it's a lot more engaging. It's a lot more colorful. I think kids will be interested to see this movie because honestly, this is going to be a family movie, and there's going to be a lot of kids at the younger age who honestly don't know who Bugs Bunny is or Daffy Duck or Pepe Le Pew. Oh, actually, not Pepe Le Pew. He got cut out of the film. Not him. He's not in the movie. Lola Bunny, Speedy Gonzales, Granny, all these characters, they have no idea who they are. So, I mean, I don't know. They might think it's fun just to go see it. They may think it's just an entertaining time. And then, obviously, parents who saw the movie when they were younger, they'll take their kids to see it because of nostalgia, of course. But I really do think that's a cool thing. They brought everybody here, and I think that's going to be a really cool thing. So we're going to take a quick break here for the musical segment, and then I got a couple more reasons on why I think Space Jam 2 or Space Jam: A New Legacy is going to be a good film. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast so far on 5 reasons why I think Space Jam: A New Legacy will work as a film. As always, it is now time for the musical segment of the podcast. Today's song is going to be called Wilting the Light by the band Light the Torch. Light the Torch is a heavy metalcore rock band who includes one of my favorite singers of all time, Howard Jones. Howard Jones was the previous singer of Killswitch Engage, which they're a huge metalcore rock band, and a lot of people may have heard of them. But this is his new project that he's been working on for a while now. This is going to be their second album called You Will Be the Death of Me. Comes out in June, and this is the first single off the album. So again, the band is called Light the Torch, and the song is called Wilting the Light. I hope you guys enjoy, and away we go. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the episode. I hope you all enjoyed the song, if you chose to listen to it. Of course, as mentioned, we're going over 5 reasons why I think Space Jam: A New Legacy is going to work as a film. I got 2 more elements, and then I will give my overall thoughts on them creating Space Jam: A New Legacy. So the next reason, the 4th reason, I think will really be cool is, it's not really a reason to like boost the film, but I do think this is going to be exciting, is going to be the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack for the first Space Jam is such an iconic and wonderful soundtrack. I remember loving it as a kid, and some of those songs on there I still listen to. I will cross the ocean for you. I will go and bring you the moon. By Monica, For You I Will. Oh man, that is some good stuff right there. I still jam that song when it comes to my playlist, and yes, I will listen to that soundtrack from time to time. It's such a good song, and there's a lot of songs on there. Unfortunately, it's labeled with a guy who likes to pee on women and is probably considered a pedophile, which is R. Kelly, which is really, really sad. But other than that, I think a new soundtrack is going to be good. They actually talked about who the artists are going to be on the soundtrack. I know Will Smith and Jaden Smith have a song together on the new Space Jam soundtrack. But again, this is a reason I think that the movie will work, because it's going to have such good music, and music is such a big part in my life, and so that's kind of a reason why I think the movie will work, just because of the music. I think it really will play a huge part in it, and sorry about that. That was my neighbor riding on his motorcycle in our. Okay, that was really weird. He gave me like a weird look. That was okay. Anyway, I really think that I think the music will be good. I think it will build nostalgia like it did for me when I was a kid listening to that soundtrack. And who knows, maybe it'll be the first movie soundtrack that I buy in a couple of years if it's that good. So I think the music will be. It's not going to really enhance the movie. I just think it will be a really exciting part of the film, because music was such a big part in the first one. And I think the last reason why this movie is going to work, this is going to be a very controversial one, but I really think this movie is made for a new generation. If you all don't know this, Space Jam, the original Space Jam, is actually based on a Nike commercial. It was obviously Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny were in it. They just thought it'd be kind of a fun little thing to do. And then somebody over at Warner Brothers was like, you know what? Let's make this into like a 90-minute film, and we'll see what happens. And that's honestly, that's really the true story of how Space Jam came to be. It was based on a commercial. I think with brand new technology, I think with a decent charismatic actor like LeBron James, the movie's going to have 2D animation elements and 3D animation elements, so it's kind of old school for the older people and new school for the younger people. I think this will honestly surprise some people. I know a lot of people, again, they aren't even willing to give it a chance because they didn't even like the first one. They don't like LeBron James, or they think the Looney Tunes are out of date. I think this movie will stand the test of time. I really do. I think it will be a really fun summer movie. And I'm happy it's getting made. I'm happy that it's going to be LeBron James. I'm happy that it's going to just be fun. I'm really excited for that. And I think kids are going to love it. I think if kids go see it, they may realize, like, hey, like, these cartoon characters are actually really funny. Like, they can be a part of history. Because, again, Bugs Bunny is, like, the most iconic, one of the most iconic cartoon characters ever, including, again, as I said, Mickey Mouse or SpongeBob. I'm no joke on SpongeBob. He really is one of the most iconic cartoon characters of all time. And so, for me, overall, my thoughts is I really do think this movie is going to be fun. Is it going to be great? I don't know. I mean, some people, even from the first trailer, they don't think it's going to be very good. I love the trailer. It has like a kind of an epic feel to it, but it also just looks fun. It looks exciting. It looks beautifully animated. And I really think this movie is going to prove people wrong. I think they're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to go check it out. And I really do think that it's going to be a really fun film. Now, the only downside, there's like a couple of downsides to the film that I think may weigh the film down. And again, I'm just speaking from just thoughts, and that's just kind of it. The director. They went through a couple of directors for this film. I forgot the original director on it, but he left the project, and Malcolm D. Lee is now directing and finished up Space Jam: A New Legacy. He's had a couple of hits. He's not, for me, he wasn't a director that really inspired me, I guess you could say. His most popular movie was Girls Trip, which had like Queen Latifah and Tiffany Haddish, and I think Will Smith's wife was in the film. That was a huge comedy hit. He also did movies like Night School with Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish, which was not very good. So I'm interested to see how his comedy is going to work in this type of film. Like, I don't know if it's going to be more loony than like, or is it going to be more of like grounded in reality comedy? Like, I'm not entirely sure. I have no idea how the film's going to work. The trailer did make me laugh a few times, so I'm really hoping that I do get a few laughs throughout the film. And then the other reason is, again, I think a lot of people would go see it based on nostalgia and that they're just going to hate bomb the film. I don't know. I really feel like this movie does have a chance to be something great, and I feel like they are just going to use the nostalgia of the first one to create this new film, which you never want to do. You want to go in with your own ideas and try to impress the audience as best as you can. So I feel like they're just going to try to do another Space Jam, like kind of like a beat for beat version of the old one. I don't think they will, but that is one of my biggest fears. It's kind of like with The Hangover Part 1 and Part 2, where literally the first Hangover was such a good film, and the second one just literally rehashed events from the first one. And so I'm hoping that they don't do that with Space Jam. I hope it's just an original idea, that they have fun with it, and that they have a good time. I'm really excited for Space Jam: A New Legacy, and I hope you guys are too. I definitely will be reviewing it when the film does come out on July 16th. And that has been the Chandler Burton podcast for today. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on all social media platforms. When it comes to podcasts, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts. You can also follow me on Twitch. I do streaming from time to time. It's twitch.tv /BlackDude19. So that's BlackDoode 19. So again, twitch.tv /BlackDude19. I got a small audience right now, but if anyone wants to come hang out, say hi, talk with me from the podcast, I think that'd be really, really cool. That'd be a really exciting thing. I've been streaming a lot of mainly PlayStation games right now, but I got a new laptop, so I'm going to start streaming with my Nintendo Switch as well. I need to get ready for Breath of the Wild 2 whenever that comes out. So, again, this has been the Chandler Burton podcast. I want to thank you all for listening and taking the time out of your day to check it out. And I hope you all have a wonderful day and a great weekend. Take care.